So why are we here today? We're here today to talk about all the books I love. BraveWriter.com is my company, and I have a whole team of people that help me run it. They do a fabulous job. I couldn't do it without them. And one of the things that we try to promote in BraveWriter is a love of reading. So we spend a lot of times, oh, thank you, 3-year-old, giving me hearts. I love it. Thank you, Jeanette, for posting the name of our company. Jeanette works for us, and she's phenomenal. Thank you that you love my energy. I appreciate that. So we're just going to hit at it. So here's the criteria I used for picking books to share with you. Almost like the KonMari method, does it spark joy? I think I would keep all of these books if I were to go through them and eliminate them based on her criteria. Who knows KonMari, that method of making your house perfectly neat forever? I'm partly in, and I'm working my way through her system. So these are the books that I would definitely keep. And as I was going through the bookcases that are all throughout my house, I'd look at the books and think, did this one fit a critical moment in my life? Did it suit me for some unique reason? And then I'm just going to share with you the unique reason. Some of them may suit you and accommodate you, and you might think, great, I want that book. And others you might be like, aha, ho-hum, I'm not interested. So no problem. If you've got your pens ready, you can start jotting these down, but I'm not going to pause to repeat and repeat and repeat, or we'll be here all day. So take screenshots, jot things down, watch the replay, and hopefully Periscope will not abandon us halfway through like they did last time. Okay, you ready? So I'm starting with a totally big surprise, nothing homeschool related. Okay, this author, I'm going to do it suspense style. This author stayed me many a happy hour when I lived in a foreign country. I lived in Morocco during the first years of my adulthood and marriage, and we had no TV, there were no telephones, the internet did not yet exist, and there were no Americans in my town. Just me and my husband. We had many, many, many long hours alone. He was an English teacher. He taught English at a university in Morocco, and brought all of his Masters of Literature books with him. He got his MA in American Lit. So we had bookcases of books. And I did all of my best reading in Morocco. But one of the things that we liked to do is I read aloud to him. So we would sit on the cold floor in this super summer heat of July for hours, and I would just read books aloud to him. And our favorite book that we read was by MMK, and it was called Shadow of the Moon. Some of you might know her from the Far Pavilions. We also read that one. And just look how big that book is. Yeah, so those of you who know, you know that I'm divorced, and honestly, these are some of our happiest married memories, reading aloud to each other. He mostly listened and I read, because John is a very fast reader. So when he reads, he like starts skipping words and I get annoyed. So I'd take the book back and I'd be like, now you sit down. I'm going to read every word. Here's what's crazy. I read every word when I read to myself silently. I don't read aloud. I don't read fast. I read every word. You know why? Because I love the writing. The story is okay, but I'm all about the writing. So I love reading aloud, and I love reading aloud in my head. So this is a great book. It's very romantic, suspenseful. It's all about India. If you're interested in foreign cultures, she's a fabulous writer. It goes on and on and on forever. So if you need a big, thick book just for you, I thought we'd start with mamas, not with children's books. I recommend this one or anything by her. She also does a fantastic murder series. So it's like murder mysteries like Agatha Christie. They're all over the world. They're much shorter reads and they're really fun. I don't know if these books are all out of print. You know I'm old. I'm in my 50s, but I loved this book in Morocco. Okay? So this one, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I got to share because I loved it. Okay. Next book. Total different. We're switching to a completely different kind of book. Who knows Betty Edwards? Anyone? She's the author of Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, which is a fabulous, fabulous book. But the one I want to show you is Drawing on the Artist Within. This book is incredible. Do you want to know a little secret? My class, Kids Write Intermediate, which is one of the online writing classes we offer in BraveWriter, I designed it doing all the exercises in this book. If you read this book, you'll recognize it. She does a great job of helping you drill down into who you are to really access vision for your life, your creativity, your understanding of how things interrelate between your past and your present. Totally different than the Artist's Way. The Artist's Way is actually more deliberate in a therapeutic sense. This is not that, which is why I preferred it, to be perfectly honest. These exercises help you generate creativity. Yeah, is that the one we did the exercises from in the Alliance? No, that was actually one from What Color Is My Parachute or something. We will use this in the Alliance. It's on my list. I have a list of books and we're just working through them. But yeah, this is a phenomenal book. So if you need one to help you, yeah, The Artist's Way is wonderful too. Absolutely. But I just wanted you to know these are two different styles of books. And I preferred this one personally. I loved it. Okay? Another one. Here we go. Now one for your kiddos. Who knows the brown paper school books? Anybody? This one is, oh, there it is. Brown Paper School. These are all fabulous. The I Hate Mathematics book is my favorite. They also have one about writing. This book is incredible. It uses cartoons to explain mathematical principles. And I found these eminently doable. You know, if you're like me, a literary person, sometimes it's really hard to access math in your brain. And she just does this incredible job. More ratio stuff. You know, the writing is fantastic. Everything by Brown Paper School is great. In fact, for American history, I used their books exclusively. I said, forget it with the textbooks. I'm doing American history with Brown Paper School. Okay? So look these up. These are for kids. These are what you're going to use in homeschooling with your kids. They're wonderful. And I would say they're middle grades, like 5th through 7th grade or 4th through 6th grade, something like that. Very good books. All right? Let's keep going. Those of you who are BraveWriter fans, you know these books. Nitty Gritty Grammar and More Nitty Gritty Grammar. The women who wrote these books, Edith Fine and Judith Josephson, are good friends of my mother's. And I've met them both. They call themselves the Grammar Patrol. Let me show you their cute picture. Here they are. Are they adorable or what? They have a Facebook page that they never update. I joined it thinking, oh, they're going to update. They rarely do. Yeah, Blood and Guts is fabulous too. Of course, I used it. So Nitty Gritty Grammar is great, but I actually prefer More Nitty Gritty Grammar. And here's why. It's a grammar reference book that is organized, can you see this? Alphabetically. So if you need to figure out a grammar concept and you want a quick explanation, these books are great. Any age level. These could work for adults or kids. So maybe you're going to look up, let me find a good example. Maybe you're going to look up the difference between lay and lie. Well, the first thing they do, they give you a syndicated cartoon that features the dilemma before they give you the definition. The reason this is wonderful is that it has cartoons in a grammar book. Is that not genius? Is that not genius? So they're all throughout. You know, here's Sally Forth, and she's teaching the principle of, what is this one? Oh, of hyphens. And then we have the far side dealing with, you know, GNUs. I mean, they're wonderful. You've got Calvin and Hobbes in here. You have Sherman's Lagoon. You know, there's just a ton. So, and they are so useful. Here's Blondie explaining pronoun antecedent agreement. So these books are wonderful. And if you need a grammar reference, either get both or get this one. Okay? They're both excellent. All right, moving on. How are we doing so far? Okay, another kid book. This one, I don't know if it's out of print, but we have used it to death. In fact, we've spilled tea on it so many times that the cover is warped. It's called The Tea Party Book. and it is by Lucille Recht Penner. So go ahead and take a quick screenshot of that. I see the camera's going off. Keep it going, keep it going. The Tea Party book. Okay, keep clicking. So I'll explain it to you. What's wonderful about this book is that it includes, now I'm going to open it back here, it includes tea party ideas for all different kinds of tea parties. So the first one is a teddy bear tea party. And what they do is they give you a beautiful picture, little illustration, and then it'll tell you what kind of cookies to make, teddy bear cookies. It'll tell you how to have bear berries and honey bread. So it'll show you how to do that and how to put them on toothpicks. Then it gives you an idea for teddy bear placemats and then teddy bear ears so that you can wear those during your tea party. And then a place, making sure you have a place setting for teddy bears, right? Here's the Valentine's tea. Pink pudding and jello. Making the invitations. What else? Making the tea pink. Making the heart-shaped sandwiches. So my favorite, and I want to show you this because I loved it so much. Let's see if I can find it. Was a full moon tea party. And we did this with another family. We made it a solar system tea party. And we actually went ahead, this is where they have cheese stars and apple crescents, Milky Way tea, moon scones, and then they make telescopes out of black colored paper, plastic wrap, tape, and silver star stickers. And then you look out, right, exactly, it's perfect for poetry tea time. So there are so many cute ideas. There's a tiny tea where everything is tiny. There's a rainy day tea party, which is a complete blast. You're making a lemon drizzle cake, cloud cookies, mud pies. I mean, does this sound amazing? So I don't know if it's still in print, but we did every single tea party in here and some of them multiple times. So I love this book, and it's sure to bring joy to your family. Okay, good. Yeah, keep sharing if you find these helpful. It's called The Tea Party Book. Tea Party Book. And it is by Lucille Recht Penner. Okay? Lucille Recht Penner. We all need this book. It makes me want to redo these. I want grandchildren. If my children are on this scope, would you hurry up? Get me some grandchildren. Okay, let's keep going. I'm sure they really appreciated that. Okay. All right. Here's another book. Now, many of you may have seen this book already if you are Charlotte Mason fans. I love this book. I have absolutely zero capacity to do what's in it. So all it is for me is a source of amazing inspiration and Zen-like peace. Ready? The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. How many of you know this book? If you're a Charlotte Mason fan, I am sure you've heard of it somewhere. Edith Holden is the author. It is an example of what nature journaling could be if you were an amazing human and British and liked using, a calligraphy pen and knew how to paint. Isn't it gorgeous? Here's why I like this book. Do not allow it to shame you into, oh, I will never nature journal. Use it as inspiration. Read her little captions. What she does that's so beautiful is she'll paint a picture and then she'll include like a Shakespeare quote. When daffodils begin to peer with hay the doxy over the dale, why then comes in the sweet of the year and the red blood reigns in the winter's pale, right? And then she has daffodils. So this just helps you have ideas. She's got down here the word daffodils and then the Latin name. So one of the benefits of this book is it just reminds you of what nature journaling can be, what some of the aspects of nature journaling should be. Here she's got all different kinds of eggs painted. I can't paint eggs, but I could print images from the internet and label them the way she does and cluster them the way she does, right? So the name of it is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. And this book is all over the internet because it got republished when Charlotte Mason came into vogue. It's a wonderful book, just delightful. Okay, we're doing great, man. We're just racing along here. All right, changing gears. How many of you enjoy teaching Shakespeare and know about Shakespeare? Yeah, Downton Abbey fans, perfect. How many of you think, I really want to teach Shakespeare, I don't know how to start? Anybody? Okay, good. All right, I have 2 Shakespeare ideas for you. The first one, we'll start with this one first. You don't want to teach Shakespeare? Well, I love Shakespeare, so unfortunately you have to listen to 2 books worth of discussion of Shakespeare. Okay, I will tell you how to start with Shakespeare, and then, you know what, we definitely need to do a Shakespeare scope because I am a passionate Shakespeare fan. We happen to have an amazing Shakespeare company in Cincinnati that has performed every single play the Bard ever wrote. And my kids have seen 85% of them, I'm sure of it. We usher, we go to see plays. If you can see Shakespeare live or watch it in movies, start there. Always start with performance. Plays are not meant to be read. They're meant to be watched. So always start with performance. However, you can also start with Shakespeare Stories by Leon Garfield. He has 2 volumes of these. They retain some of the beautiful language, but the plays are turned into stories. My very first tea time was not a poetry tea time. It was a Shakespeare story by Garfield. And we did Midsummer Night's Dream. And I'm going to find that one for you right now, so you can see what it looks like. 253. The illustrations are spectacular. That's why I want you to see this. So here's the story, Midsummer Night's Dream. And I did this with my 8-year-old daughter, not kidding. Here's an example of an image. Oh, okay, I will show it again in a second. Here is an illustration that is painted. If you know the story, you recognize these 2 characters. Is that exceptional or what? Exquisite. And the writing is so beautiful. I love thee not, therefore pursue me not. It was the furious Demetrius with Helena wailing hopelessly in his wake. Hence get thee gone and follow me no more. Her tale-bearing had done her no good. Like that. So you've got the dialogue intermixed with prose. Yeah, spectacular. Oh my God, I love this book. So if you're looking for a way to introduce Shakespeare in sort of a user-friendly way to your kids, Leon Garfield's the way to go. I started with my kids when they were little. So we started watching Shakespeare when Noah was only 10, which means that Katrin wasn't even born or was just born. Like, we started early. And we watched with them, and I read these as read-alouds. Absolutely. We did copy work from this. Leon Garfield's Shakespeare stories also have some VHS versions of them that are only a half-hour long. Check your library. They're probably in DVD format now, but we used to check those out too. And they just made a nice, rich compilation. So when you're introducing Shakespeare, you want to watch it, read the stories. You could read the story, then watch it, get the sort of juvenile versions. Lambs are good too. That's a popular Charlotte Mason choice. I just think Garfield's the better writer. So that's why I prefer Garfield. And then for your older kids, once you can do it either way. With the Garfield Shakespeare stories, it might help to start with the book and then watch the movie. For your older kids, one of the ways to help them access the language is acting, not reading. Reading aloud Shakespeare in a high school class has to be the biggest mistake every high school in America makes. Why? Because those kids are not trained to read iambic pentameter, and they are encountering ideas and feelings and language that is unfamiliar. So you get these very droning voices reading very challenging material, doing a horrible job of it, and making everyone think Shakespeare is boring. When really what you want to do is introduce your kids to some of the most well-known scenes in the history of Shakespeare. You know, the famous balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet. So what we did is, at my co-op, I taught an acting class for Shakespeare, and here is, by far, hands down, the best acting resource for Shakespeare. Clues to Acting Shakespeare by Wesley Van Tassel. Now, the book cover looks different online because I bought this so long ago and there's a more current version, but this is the book title and the author. It's phenomenal. One of the things that I had my kids do, and you might enjoy doing this, my kids were in junior high when we did it, the first older two. I had all of us memorize the prologue to Romeo and Juliet. A random comment by a student youth leader to my son stuck with me. He said to Noah, "You should memorize the prologue to Romeo and Juliet. It's really good to have a little Shakespeare in your pocket at all times." And I was like, we can totally do that. We've done the Gettysburg Address. Why don't we memorize the prologue to Romeo and Juliet? Do you know what that means? At parties, you can just spontaneously erupt into Shakespeare. So this is a great book to help you read it correctly, learn how to say it. The prologue is nice and short. You know, it's like 15 or 20 lines. And then you can sort of act it out together and feel very erudite and smart. Okay? Awesome. Enough on Shakespeare. We'll do a scope on Shakespeare because I love it so much. Okay. You all read the Little House books. At least I hope you do. Last year, BraveWriter finally finished all the arrows for the entire group. We're going to bundle them together this summer and republish them as a unit. The reason I want to share this book with you is just for purely selfish reasons. My mom bought me the entire set in the 1960s, and I still have all of them. Let's see if I can find... Oh, shoot, I don't think it's on here. You just need to know each book costs $4.95. Isn't that incredible? I have the whole series. I even have the first 4 years. And then I have every other Laura Ingalls Wilder related thing you could possibly have. And finally took my kids to see the house in South Dakota when we moved from California to Cincinnati, a lifelong dream of mine. So don't miss these books. They're phenomenal. You got to read them. The writing is exquisite. Now, truth be told, my youngest daughter didn't like them. She was raised on Harry Potter, and these felt really dull to her. So maybe read them before you let your kids read Harry Potter. Maybe that's the moral of the story. Farmer Boy is incredible. Great one to start with. I would definitely recommend that. Okay, so there you go. Let me go on here. I am switching now back to an adult book. And for those of you... Yeah, oh, the food in Farmer Boy is incredible. We did a big Farmer Boy breakfast one time for homeschooling that we loved. So, let's see here. Oh, I don't want to do this one yet. I want to do this one. Okay. This is my favorite writing book of all time, My Writing Guru. Okay? So if you want to know where all my great ideas come from, they come from this guy, Peter Elbow. Dr. Peter Elbow. This book, Writing with Power, is the gold standard for all professional writers. Oh, thank you. It's a phenomenal book. As you can see, I have Post-it notes. I have margin notes throughout it because what I was writing as I went along is I would say things like, I didn't know other people did this. This is what I do. See if I can find one of those for you. Peter Elbow is sometimes scorned a little bit inside of the academy. And the reason is because he gives so much credit to free writing and to expressive writing. And he does it, though, from within the academic community as a member of his peer group that are composition professors. He is now a professor emeritus in Massachusetts from Amherst. But what I love about him, he has a book called Writing Without Teachers. He has another book called Everyone Can Write. What he does is he deconstructs the writing impulse, and then he helps you locate the writing voice in academic writing. Do you see why I love him? Exactly what I'm all about. So if you want to read a book that's written for adults and you want to be a better blog writer, you want to be a better email writer, if you just want to grow in your writing, this is where you start. This is the book my mom recommended to me when I first started professional writing. It's phenomenal. And I was shocked. I'm like, wait, that's how I write. I get it. I didn't know other people did it this way. It was one of those experiences. Do you know what I mean? And you'll feel that way too if you're the kind of person who likes to write. Yeah, he does a whole chapter on writing for teachers and how that screws up people's writing voices. It's amazing. His story's amazing. He was in graduate school for his PhD, and he freaked out on his dissertation. So he quit his PhD and decided to investigate the writing process and instead got it in writing. You did not miss all the good books, Alicia, because the stack is ridiculous. It's huge. All right. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, actually, I got to meet Peter Elbow. It was a bit like meeting Bono for me. That's how much I regard him. I sent him The Writer's Jungle after I completed it, and he wrote back and thanked me for writing a book that reached homeschoolers because that was one community he had not reached yet. And he liked my book. Then 2 years later, his secretary called me and said, Dr. Elbow will be speaking at Miami University of Ohio, and he would like to meet you. And I'm like, what? So I got to go out, and I was a guest in the front row of this big academic conference for professors at Miami of Ohio. I met Dr. Elbow before it started, and then I got to sit next to him at dinner. And he was incredible to me. So yeah, I have great regard for this guy because he shaped so much of how I teach and yet had regard for me, was equally curious and interested in what I was doing. So that was pretty cool. All right, yes, some of you anticipated me. Wonder, holy smokes. This was recommended to me by you guys, by BraveWriter moms. I read this book. I don't know if there's a better children's book on the market. And I don't say that lightly because my favorite books are all children's books. This book is so insightful, so well written, so touching. I think it would change lives forever for children to hear this book. We did it in the Arrow this year, I believe. You can buy the Arrow that goes with it if you want to. This book is phenomenal. Do not miss it. Read it with your children. R.J. Palacio is the writer. And I'm telling you, that is an amazing author. She's phenomenal. It's good for 4th to 6th grade. It is an Arrow, correct. Wonder. Such a good book. Be prepared to cry. As a mother, be prepared to have your heart ripped out and also to identify strongly with the mother in this book. The mother is so well written. It's a beautiful book. Beautiful, beautiful book. It's about disfigurement and what that does to your relationships in your family, in your school, and in your community. And the protagonist starts out as a homeschooled child who transitions into school. So you'll relate to it. It's a great book. Great, great book. All right. Who needs something fun after a sad book? All right, well, my very favorite writer for women, Nora Ephron, who is no longer with us, and I literally can't accept that. When she died, I spent a week thinking, I can't live in a world where Nora Ephron's voice is no longer available to me. So I just keep rereading her books. I have her complete works. I have I Remember Nothing. I have I Feel Bad About My Neck. She is so much fun. Of course, I absolutely love You've Got Mail, which I have memorized. It's my comfort food. I watch it when I'm sick, and I watch it on snow days, and I watch it when my daughters are home, and my entire family, all the kids, we all quote it to each other constantly. But she's very insightful about the journey of being a woman. And so I highly recommend her. She does sometimes use little language, which I find entertaining, but I just thought you should know her. She's wonderful. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you another novel. Oh, I think I grabbed the wrong one. Shoot. I wanted the other one. That's okay. I'm going to show you this one, but this isn't the one I wanted. I wanted Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. This is the Mermaid Chair, which is pretty good. Secret Life of Bees, I think, is a wonderful, wonderful book. You've probably all read it. It had a huge impact on me. I really appreciated the story of the South through her lens. She's from the South. She understands women's issues, women's spirituality. Secret Life of Bees is incredible. This book was really fun too. You know when I read it on a weekend away. I met a friend to go to the art museum in Chicago. I got there 4 hours before she did. I read this book in one sitting, and it was lovely. Sometimes Invention of Wings is great too. I listened to it on Audible last year while I was training for a marathon. Exactly. Like, she's wonderful. Brilliant writer. I also love Dance of the Dissident Daughter, which is an older book of hers. So if you like her, you'll like her. Yeah, Mermaid Chair isn't as good. Secret Life of Bees is my top pick. So go for that one. All right. Another children's book. Some of these you already have. Trumpet of the Swan. My favorite E.B. White book. Of course, he's great at Charlotte's Web, but The Father. The Father! This guy's incredible. You got to read this book. Read it to your children. Two great things. The Boy Nature Journals. He asks amazing questions. E.B. White makes fun of school. He endorses the love relationship of a father and a son. Not just the mother's heart, but the father's heart. It is delightful. Oh, his writing. My kids quote the father and his tone of voice all the time. It's too good. It's too good. All right. Let's see. What else do I want to show you? Oh, here's Secret Life of Bees. I do have it. Ha! It was in my stack. So here's Sue Monk Kidd, Secret Life of Bees, if you want to take a picture. Yeah. Yeah, that's the copy from my childhood. I know, my mom bought me books every year, so I still have a lot of them. Oh, that's adorable. You should let your 5-year-old write a sequel for the Swans. That's a great idea. I love that idea. Okay, let's do poetry. Want to? How many of you know Jane Kenyon? I shared about her on a Poetry Tea Time Scope. This book, Otherwise, rip your heart out. She died of cancer in her 40s, and she wrote many of these poems while she was going through that journey. And her poetry is unrhymed and yet so moving. Parents' Weekend, Camp Kenwood, Reading Late of the Death of Keats, Trouble with Math in a One-Room Country School. Like, these are incredible poems, and they sort of give me new language for self-expression. There's an insight she has into nature that comes through in all of her poetry that I think is really lovely. Are you guys all still there? I'm worried that we're freezing on the screen again. Oh, you are still there. Okay, good. Last time, suddenly there were no comments or hearts, and Periscope was freezing. So keep those hearts coming. That helps me know we're not frozen. All right, so Otherwise by Jane Kenyon. Okay, good. Awesome. All right. You getting tired yet? You guys still with me? Let's see what time we have. Oh, we're doing great. Yay. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right, how about another writing book? If you want to grow as a writer, okay, this is a funny story. I bought this book from Amazon, and it looked like a regular size book, and then it arrived. Look how little this book is. But it's really cute, and I kept it in my purse for years. Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. Do you guys know her? Freeing the Writer Within. So this woman, Natalie, is a poet. And this book, she's a Zen Buddhist Jewish woman, okay? So she's got 100 different perspectives to contribute to my Eastern Jewish thinking, right? So I just want you to know that going in. You will recognize one of the exercises we use in BraveWriter. It comes right out of the middle, the action of a sentence, where you work on creating more powerful combinations. She also does a great job of just narrating the writing journey. But here's what I love about Natalie. She will go to like a community fair, set up a booth, and write poems on the spot for people who walk up to her. Just at a glance and a moment's interaction, and then she'll try and write something insightful, a couple verses. I mean, how cool is that? So she talks about that in here. And that's the kind of thing that I always think, I want to do that, and then I'm like completely intimidated to do it. Her name is Natalie Goldberg. She's a great writer, really entertaining writer. This is another one of those standards. I was going to show you Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird, but everybody knows that book. This one's a little different. People watching poems, yeah. Do it, Julie. Hey, maybe we'll do that at the retreat. That'd be fun. Maybe we will. Remind me. Because I don't want to think about it until then. It's too intimidating. What if you do a terrible job? Right? That's the feeling. Okay. A book that has more Post-it notes in it than any book in my entire life. I wonder if you can guess what book this is. Should we take some guesses? What book in my life would have more Post-it notes than any others? I'll give you a hint. It's not a writing book. Anybody know? I bet you can't know. So I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'll give you another hint. It's not a dictionary. That's great. Okay, here's a hint. It was written in the 1940s, the early 1940s. Not a cookbook. It is a compilation. Yeah, there's more Post-its than pages, really. It's a compilation. Every entry is dated. Does that help? Yes! Who said Bonhoeffer? Chili Bean! Chili Bean! I need to send you a prize. Email me. You win. Okay. Letters and Papers from Prison. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. So this guy was a German Lutheran pastor in Germany during World War II and the run-up to World War II. And he joined a resistance movement that conspired to assassinate Hitler. They got found out. He got thrown in prison. And in April of 1945, he got, executed, even though the war was over. So he was a martyr. This book, though, for me, was revolutionary in my life at the time that I read it, and I did my master's thesis on it. So I thought I would throw this out here. He is a Christian, but he's a very unusual person. He rethought all of his beliefs. And so those are here in raw form. And when I did my thesis, I applied a critical theory called performatism to it. No, it's not Eric Metaxas. This is actually his own writings. This is Dietrich's own writings. They are letters to his best friend, his fiance, his family, and then writings he never completed that give us a hint of his vision of what he thought the future should look like. Very provocative. Yes, definitely still in print. Absolutely. My copy looks really old. I teach this, so that's why it has 1 million Post-it notes. It definitely reads like Letters and Papers. You have to dig through it to find nuggets because a lot of it is like, I need a cigarette. How are you doing? I miss you, Mom and Dad. All right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The Metaxas biography is terrific. If you've read that, you're ready for Letters and Papers for sure. Okay. My favorite Charlotte Mason is The Home Education out of her 6-volume series. It has a few Post-it notes. Love. 3 out of the 6 are great. The other 3 are a little bit rambly. She's pretty much rambly in all of them. But I always say go to the source. Like there are other Charlotte Mason books out there that you can read that I read by other people who are distilling her. But go to the source. She's awesome. I mean, really, her appreciation of children as human persons is better than most of the books you read today, honestly. She comes with this very non-sentimental, non-romanticized perspective of our children as persons. She isn't treating them delicately. She is saying, hey, they can stand up and take up space, and they do take up space, and we ought to listen to them. That's what she's saying. She's not saying, oh, let's coddle these little babies. She's saying, hey, they're endowed with full personhood. I think the other ones I liked were, let me look over there. I really like School Education and what's the other one? Parents and Children. Parents and Children, sorry about my head. Parents and Children and School Education would be my other 2 favorites. But, the philosophy of education is really good too. I think Ourselves is a little bit rambly and boring, honestly. So, there you go. Okay. How about this one? I'm getting close to winding up here. This author is wonderful. His name is Thomas More. Can you see that? Thomas More. We did a chapter from a book of his called The Re-Enchantment of Daily Life. I found Care of the Soul to be my favorite of his books. This book uses Jungian archetypes to talk about the internal life. And so he looks at how to have a perspective that embraces your shadow, not just your strengths, but that really relishes and takes into account your limitations. Love him. Great writer. He has so many books. I got this version from Amazon because they pair famous artwork with each of the chapters. And it is so beautiful to look at that I had to own it. Oh, I'm so glad you bought that, Rebecca. Yeah, his work is lovely. I'm sure we'll return to him in the Alliance. He's a very gifted writer and thinker, and it's very moving. So Care of the Soul, Thomas More. All right. I also, as an adult, this is definitely an adult book, and I'm revealing to you that I love it. Don't necessarily leave this laying around for your kids. This is for grown-ups, okay? So how many of you are Annie Proulx fans? I love Close Range. These are her short stories. The final one is Brokeback Mountain, which is one of my favorite short stories of all time. But all of them are exceptional. She is quite the writer. And if you've read Shipping News or any of her other works, you know what I'm talking about. But I love Close Range. I think this is a fabulous compendium to really help you experience a totally different perspective. Male, Western, it's like just other rodeo culture. I really enjoyed it. So that's also one of my favorites. Okay, last but definitely not least, I bet you all know it's coming. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to make you wait for it because there's one more book. Oh, there's two more. Oh, no, there's three more. I keep seeing more books. Wait a minute. Let me see. I thought I got through my stack, but I see another little stack. What do you think? Should we do three more books? Should we do three more? Are you guys down with three more? It's 12 minutes till. Go? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. Siblings Without Rivalry, Adele Faber, Elaine Maslish. Changed my life. They also have How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. Okay? Oh, it's blurry? Try now. How's that? This book will change how you parent. Not kidding. And so will the other one. So read it multiple times. Love this book. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Just go look it up. Check it out of the library. It's sold millions. It's better than any parenting book you will get. Okay? Good. All right. Then, this book is perfect for your teenage boys and you to read together. Everything Bad is Good for You. Who knows this book? This book is by Stephen Johnson. Stephen Johnson. Everything Bad is Good for You. It's provocative. Let me just tell you right now, not all of his research is well supported, but his theories and his arguments and the way he makes his case is pretty compelling. And if you have a boy who's begging you to do violent video games and all that stuff and you're all worried about it, get this book, read it together, do some writing about it, and turn this into a genuine conversation with your teenagers. It could be girls too. I'm sorry I'm being so gender specific. Any gamers in your life, this is the book. It's addressing a theory of what we do with the new, how we are suspicious of it, how we mistreat it when it has something to offer us. And he's a provocative writer. It's kind of fun. And it's also fun to pick it apart, to figure out what aspects of it really don't hold up scientifically or in terms of data or research. So I highly recommend this book. It's really fun to do with your kids. Okay? All right, let's see. Is that everything then that I wanted to do? My very favorite poet of all time is Wisława Szymborska. She is a Polish poet. She wrote also during the World War II era and beyond. So her collected poems is one of my most cherished books in my collection. The poem that I really love is called Notes from a Non-Existent Himalayan Expedition. I've read that in other contexts, so I'm not going to read it now. But she just has such a powerful take on our humanity. So I highly recommend her if you don't know her. Okay? I love her. All right. And then last, and certainly not least, my favorite book of all time. And most of you already know what that is, A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. Is this the best book written of all time? No. Is it even the best E.M. Forster book? Some people would say no. But it's my favorite book. And I hope all of you have a favorite book, something you turn back to in those moments when you just need to reread something that is a guaranteed feel good, restore your faith in humanity book. A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. Here's his name. E.M. Forster is so insightful. He was a British novelist from the 20th century. He lived his life in sort of closeted because he was gay and he knew Oscar Wilde had gone to prison. So there's that dimension to him as well. His writing is exquisite and his worldview is so beautiful. He loves the arts, loves literature, loves travel, loves shattering convention. Oh, he's wonderful. And this book makes me laugh probably more than any book I've ever read. And then the movie is wonderful too. So go ahead and get the Merchant and Ivory version. It's so good. Sweetness in the Belly, that's beautiful. Beautiful. So this is my favorite book of all time. You certainly don't have to read it, but I love it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so let's have you post your favorite book. So we've got Lord of the Rings. I have a friend who reads Lord of the Rings, the whole series at Thanksgiving every year. Glass Castle is yours. What are some of the other books that you can share with us now that are your go-tos that you need? Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird. I almost put it in my stack. A Good Earth is beautiful. We just taught that this year. Anna Karenina. I read that in Morocco. That was one of those books for me. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Jane Eyre. Love it. Memoirs of a Geisha. Father Tim novels. Vampire. Gone with the Wind. Gift from the Sea. Little Prince. Eat, Pray, Love. Oh, I love Elizabeth Gilbert. Shepherd of the Hills. Anne of Green Gables. The Hobbit. Mere Christianity. Gatsby. Poisonwood Bible. Persuasion. Anything by Madeleine L'Engle. Oh, The Red Tent. Middlemarch. My ex used to call that middle crawl. That's awesome. Lonesome Dove. The Chosen. Color Purple. City of Ember. Handmaid's Tale. Oscar Wilde. These are great. Oh, The Velveteen Rabbit. There you go. Unbearable Lightness of Being. Beautiful. Harry Potter. Who can't read Harry Potter 100 times? Winnie the Pooh. Beatrix Potter. The Affair. The Lesson. Charlotte's Web. Okay, Charlotte's Web has my favorite opening lines and closing lines of any book. I absolutely love it. It opens with, where are you going with that axe, Pa? Okay, is there not a better opening hook in literature? There is not. And then it ends with that Charlotte was both a good writer and a good friend. And I just even saying those words makes me want to cry. So good. Catcher in the Rye. Oh, yeah, Charlotte's Web. I mean, E.B. White, right? The guy is classy, a master of prose, humor, sensitivity, insight into the human condition. Isn't that what all good fiction is about? Insight into the human condition. That's what compels us. That's what makes us keep going back and reading more. Oh, wow. This was fun. Did you like that? Was that fun? Oh, Wind in the Willows. Oh, Freckles, Lumber Lost. Oh, yes. You all have the same feelings I do. This is wonderful. So I hope that was good. There are books I didn't include, so maybe we'll do another one another time. But I was trying to give you sort of a range of books that have shaped me. I left a whole bunch out, obviously, things that I just wasn't sure were right for today. But I took a gamble and I shared a bigger range than I normally do. I will be happy to do kid books. Oh, holy smokes, my favorite stuff. All you have to do basically is go look at the Arrow single issues on BraveWriter and you'll know which kids books I love because I pick them every year and I only pick books I like. I could make money selling books. Oh, you're so cute. Thank you. We should follow each other on Goodreads. We should. I am on Goodreads. That would be wonderful. And please follow me on Instagram. That's really important to me. I want to see you all on my Instagram. Oh, wonderful. Yay! All right, so I don't have a new scope schedule for next week. I will try and put one out over the weekend. You should join our Brave Scopes group, which is hopping, on Facebook because I will post it there first. Facebook.com/group/BraveScopes. Join us, and then you will know. I will also send out an email with the schedule. I know, I like having a schedule too. It's good for me, it's good for you. The upcoming book for February for the Arrow, which I am completing right now, is called Courage Has No Color, and it is about the triple nickel paratroopers who were an African-American regiment in World War II. Phenomenal nonfiction title. If you are looking for a way to help your kids grow in reading nonfiction, that is a great place to start. and you could sign up for the Arrow now and get it in February. I really love that book. I think it's important to read nonfiction to our kids at least once a year. Yay. Okay, so for those who jumped on late, I'm Julie Bogart from BraveWriter. Thank you so much for joining me all this week and today. Arrow is for read aloud. You read the book, and then you use the copywork and dictation passages that I've selected to help your kids grow in the mechanics of writing. You can learn more about that at our store.bravewriter.com. All right then, let's close. Have a fabulous weekend. Live honestly. Write bravely. I'm Julie Bogart from BraveWriter. Thank you for joining me today. Yes, you can buy them individually. We have a single issues section of the Arrow. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.